Necesitas un lápiz, el papel, or un cuaderno. You'll need a pencil, a paper, or an exercise book. Hola clase tres, ¿cómo estás? Again, I hope that you're all okay. Again, brilliant to see some of you obviously accessing our Spanish lessons over the past few weeks. I'd love to see even more of you obviously doing them this week. As mentioned last week, we're going to be carrying on, continuing to look at the months of the year, or los meses del año. This week's very much going to be looking at up-leveling and making our sentences from last week better. If you didn't do the lesson last week, there will be an opportunity for you to do the work from that. It's really similar to what we're doing today, so don't worry too much if you haven't. As ever, we're going to recap some of the months of the year, particularly looking at pronunciation. So let's have a look at the months of the year and the pronunciation. We're going to do these quicker than what we have done before, because we should be absolutely there with the pronunciation of all of them. And then on the next slide, there is the months of the year song that you can sing along with as many times as you want. Okay, bueno. January, enero, enero. Muy bien. Febrero, febrero, February. March, marzo, marzo. Muy bien. April, abril, abril. May, mayo, mayo. June, junio, junio. Muy bien. July, julio, julio. Si es verdad, is right. August, agosto, agosto. Muy bien. Septiembre, septiembre. September, octubre, octubre. October. November is noviembre, noviembre. Muy bien. And diciembre, 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 diciembre. Muy bien. For December. Okay, I'm going to do it quick fire now. You need to repeat the months after me. Enero, febrero, marzo, abril, mayo, junio, julio, agosto, septiembre, octubre, noviembre, diciembre. Muy bien, well done if you kept up with that. Okay, so the song is going to play in a moment. Feel free to obviously sing along and practice that pronunciation.
Enero, febrero, marzo, abril, mayo, junio, julio, agosto, septiembre, octubre, noviembre y diciembre. Enero, febrero, marzo, abril, mayo, junio, julio, agosto, septiembre, octubre, noviembre y diciembre.
Okay, so as I mentioned at the start of the video, today's lesson is really going to be about making our sentences from last week even better. So last week we looked at obviously the sentence en voy a. So it was in and then a month, I go to the, and then you filled it in with the different buildings. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to give you some sentences in Spanish. What I want you to have a go at is to translate them into English. You'll notice as well I've put a list on the screen of common Spanish adjectives, so I will be choosing some of the adjectives from there as well. Now, we spoke about this back in January when I was teaching you in Year 3. One of the things that's really important in Spanish that you must remember, and you'll need to know for your writing a little bit later in the session, is that the adjectives don't come before the noun, they come after them. So for example, in English, if you were to say a big house, the adjective would always come before the noun. In Spanish, you'd actually translate it to una casa grande, which basically means a house big. So in Spanish, the adjective always comes after the noun. En enero voy a la biblioteca agradable. Okay, so you should have got, in January, I go to the pleasant library. Now remember again, biblioteca agradable is library pleasant because the adjective comes after the noun. Okay, next one. En agosto voy a la playa buena. See, in August, I go to the good beach. Now you'll have noticed there, and I had to spend a little bit of time thinking about it too. I said the playa buena. Now the reason for that, and you can see where it says good on the list of adjectives, it says bueno and buena, is because the word playa is a feminine word, and again we spoke about this back in January, so it needed to agree. Playa buena is good beach. Okay, next one. En diciembre voy a la familia grande. En diciembre voy a la familia grande. Muy bien. In December I go to the big family. And finally, finalmente, en marzo voy al colegio fácil. En marzo voy al colegio fácil. Well done if you got in March, I go to the easy school. Bueno, I hope that you found that useful. Again, if you need to rewind it at this point to recap over some of those things, then that's absolutely fine. For your task today, all that I want you to do is to look back at the sentences that you did last week. So at this point, if you didn't do that, then you will need to write your own sentences. And I've also left the examples on the screen at the moment, and equally I've left the modelling clip that I showed last week on the next bit. So if you want to fast forward to that bit to be able to write your sentences, that's absolutely fine. But for this week, all that you're doing is adding adjectives to those sentences, and you could even write some more of your own ideas. That's absolutely fine. So you need to take the different months of the year, you need to choose where you're going, and you need to describe it with an adjective. Now obviously the adjectives are listed on the page in front of you. Remember, the adjective comes after the noun, like in the examples that I've just given you, and I look forward to seeing some of your examples on Seesaw. Okay, so this is how you're going to construct your sentences. As I said, the template is there on the screen for you. My first sentence I'm going to write is in English. In August, I go to the beach. Now, hopefully, from the past couple of weeks, you'll remember the word for beach, which is playa. So, have a think what you think the sentence might be in Spanish, and in a moment, I'll write it for you. Okay, here it is. In agosto. Now, One thing that you need to remember when you're writing the months of the year in Spanish, which is different from English, is the fact that you don't need a capital letter for the months of the year. So, en agosto. En agosto, in August, voy I go a la to the playa, which is beach. En agosto voy a la playa. In August, I go to the beach. Okay, next one. In January, I go to the library. Now see if you can remember the word for library. I've used it a couple of times in the last couple of weeks. And see if you can think of what the sentence might be. Okay. In January, I go to the library. En enero, voy a la biblioteca. En enero, remember no capital letter. Voy a la to the biblioteca. I apologise for my handwriting there. En enero voy a la biblioteca. In January, I go to the library. Hope that you found today useful, Year 3. As I said before, I look forward to seeing your writing on Seesaw. Take care, everybody, and adios.